Welcome to Some Stutter Law, Newfoundland Labrador's first podcast about living with communication differences. It is a production of the Communication Collaborative and is in solidarity with the Newfoundland Labrador Stuttering Association. My name is Greg O'Grady. I am a person who stutters and your host. Some Stutter Law is a unique opportunity for us to discuss topics, experiences, and perspectives on what it is like to live with communication differences, to live with a disability, but also to uplift and inspire, to rebuild confidence through inclusive language and themes, and to install hope by dismantling myths, stigmas, stereotypes, and barriers surrounding speech, language, and disability challenges. Some Stutter Law is a safe space to speak and to own your truth, a safe space to communicate differently without the fear of being judged or feeling shame. If you only get one thing from this podcast, we hope it's this. It's okay to stutter and it's okay to communicate differently. It's not how we communicate that's important, it's the message that's important. So let's communicate differently without the need to ask permission or to apologize for being you. For more information about the Communication Collaborative or this podcast, you can find us at somestutterlaw.ca. Today, Some Stutter Law welcomes Danny Miguel. Thank you, Danny, for joining us for Some Stutter Law conversation.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Now, a little about Danny. Danny is 34, who resides in Connecticut. The C's are hard for me, Danny.
No worries.
Danny has struggled with stuttering for 15 years. Surprisingly, he started stuttering at age 18, which is late since most develop this stutter during adolescent years. He attended speech therapy for nearly a year, but never felt any improvement. Danny found a book called How to Stop Stuttering and Love Speaking by Lee G. Lovett earlier this year and has diligently immersed himself in the author's methods. It has greatly reduced his stuttering after 2 to 3 months. Danny is here today to share his story and to discuss How to Stop Stuttering and Love Speaking by Lee G. Lovett. To quote Danny, Danny wants every stutterer out there to be aware of it because it is truly a godsend. Now, before I have Danny speak, I'll read a few reviews from Amazon customers that have read Lee G. Lovett's book. A few of the comments states, "This book cannot come more highly recommended, and I wish I could give more than 5 stars." Another review, a book that is saving lives. Another review, this is the most important book on stuttering that's ever been written. Another review book, a speech Bible to overcome stuttering, and your search is over. And another reader has written, it is general knowledge that many stutterers are shy and reclusive, often living in abject despair. As the author has said, many of my stutter mates have written to me about having no hope for a normal life and of their suicidal thoughts. Until now, there has been no hope for these sufferers. This book and the author's predecessor books on point have changed that by showing a path fluency that works. So Danny, share a little about yourself and how your reading of Lee G. Lovett's book, How to Stop Stuttering and Love Speaking, has changed your life.
Well, I can say that it's greatly changed my life for the better. Like you read in my short bio, I stuttered for 15 years, and surprisingly, I started at age 18. And I will always remember the date and time of that event too, because I was in Giant Stadium watching my favorite soccer team play a friendly match. And I remember turning to one of my cousins to make a comment about one of the players. and for some reason, I just couldn't get his name out. And I didn't really think much of it besides that it was kind of weird and unusual. But little did I know that it will just lead to even more long hesitations and pauses. So I became a situational stutterer where I would have long pauses. And I always thought, one day it would just fade away and I will speak fluently again. But it never came. And in 2019, I decided to do something about it. I saw a speech therapist for about a year. I think I started in February and ended around August. And I used to do weekly sessions, sometimes 2 a week. And while she tried greatly to help me reduce stuttering, I literally felt zero improvements in my speech. But I don't want to focus on the negative because I was trying to find the positive in everything. And the only positive that I can say from attending weekly speech therapy was that I opened up about my stutter to other people because it's something that I held in for years and years. I think only my brother knew that I stuttered because I kept it very, very close. And let's see, it was early 2022, probably around Christmas time, where I was dreading to go to my family's Christmas party because I didn't want to spend another year just sitting in a corner watching everyone else laugh and have fun. And, I wanted to be involved too, but again, my stutter held me back. So thankfully, I went on Reddit and there's a stuttering Reddit page. And I remember one user saying her experiences with stuttering, and it was the most heartfelt, compassionate message that I ever saw. So I pulled the user aside through direct messaging, telling them how much I was touched by their comment. And he or she replied back saying thank you and recommended a book called How to Stop Stuttering and Love Speaking by Lee G. Lovett. And they said it was the best thing that has ever happened to them to combat their stutter. So, of course, I looked up the book. I went on Amazon to purchase it for about $30. And I can honestly say it was the best money ever spent. Because even though it's a long read, because it's about 715 pages or so, it's worth the read because I spent literally 2 to 3 hours a day reading that book because I just couldn't put it down. Some people say that a good book speaks to their heart, but I can honestly say this book speaks to my soul. And after 2 to 3 months of applying the methods that the author suggests in his book, I greatly reduced my stutter. And I can honestly say, like the title of his book, I love speaking now. And I just want every stutterer out there because there's about 70 to 80 million of us, and no one else knows the personal struggles that we go through each and every day to speak to other people. So if this podcast can reach to at least one person out there and help them with their stutter and overcome their stutter, then I've done my job for the day.
Mm. Thank you for sharing that, Danny. Danny, would you like to elaborate on what techniques does the author have people study do? So some of the techniques.
Oh, absolutely. Um, to describe the techniques, because like I said, it's a very, very long book. It's over 700 pages. I would probably need another hour or two with you. But, but since we don't have that time, basically he breaks it down into 13 methods to help move around stutters. And each method is incredible. And I'll quickly go through the 13. The first method to help combat stuttering is simply dropping the first syllable of a word. The second one is to find a synonym or a similar word of the fear word that you're thinking. The third method is to skip the word or spell it. The fourth method is to insert sounds or other words and jam it into the feared word. The fifth one is to tell a story about the feared word. The sixth method is to rephrase the thought. The seventh method is a personal favorite of mine, and which is to whisper. The eighth
Mm.
method is to modulate. The ninth one is to use extreme pronunciation while speaking. The 10th one is to link your words together. The 11th one is also a good one, which is speak like a king/queen, in which he breaks it down into subparts. So basically, you have to stop talking, ask questions, and slow down your speech. Speak softly, speak slowly, use extreme pronunciation, be as expressive as you can, and smile. And I think I was on 11. The 12th one is smile. And the 13th one is the best one to use when you've combated it, which is no crutch at all. And if you diligently and immerse yourself and practice with these crutches every single day, and then you will be able to greatly reduce your stuttering.
Mm. So, Danny, when you talk about these 13 levels, what how would you practice this now? Would you go in public? Would you sort of deliberately e- exaggerate? Do you want to share a little bit about that?
Yes. Another thing that he mentions in the book is the 1, 2, 3 punch, which is you must read at least 1 hour a day. The second one is to hear as much fluency from your lips and not disfluency, so that way we build our mental memory image bank with more positive thoughts than negative ones. And then the third one is what he calls affirmations. And it's basically training your mind and telling yourself positive things. And he usually wants you to pick 10 of them. So you recite 10 and you do it 20 times, twice a day. Now, to answer your previous question, which helped me practice the crutches, as he calls it, um, when I was doing it, I enjoyed doing it while reading. So for every page, I would use his method number one on one page. And then the second one, I would use maybe his seventh method. And then after reading, I would incorporate it into conversation. And at first, it might sound a little weird to people, but like the author states, it's better to use these crutches to help you while conversating because it does beat a stutter.
Mm. So Danny, does the author? So he actually refers to these steps as crutches. Do you want to elaborate what the term crutches means?
Oh,
Crutches.
absolutely. Like he also puts it in the book, us stutterers right now, we kind of, well, I don't want to, say something wrong because I don't want to offend anyone out
Mm-hmm.
there, but our stutter right now in our minds is broken. And like when we have a broken leg, we use a crutch to support ourselves for one day for our leg to become healed. Because obviously, when you have a broken leg, we don't want to walk on it or else we won't heal. So we use a crutch to help us guide throughout the day. So eventually, if you keep using the crutches enough, one day you will also stop your stuttering. I don't know if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So Danny, why do you prefer the whisper step? You mentioned that's your favorite.
Oh, absolutely. Because like the author says, when we whisper, we never stutter.
It's
No,
true. It's true.
yep. So that's why it's a personal favorite. And also another personal favorite is crutch one, which is dropping the first syllable of most words. And I'll do a demonstration for you right now.
Sure.
I can drop the first letter ost words and eep right on awking, and you'll understand every word that I'm aying. Isn't that true?
Mm, okay.
I know at first it sounds a little weird, but like the author
It's
says,
it is different.
yeah, but like
Yes.
the author says, he'll never like want you or recommend to drop the syllable of every word. But if you drop a syllable for a word here or there, most people won't pick up on that because they only care about the message that you're implying, not the way that you're speaking.
Mm. Yeah, Danny, that reminds me when I was when I had taken speech therapy, and well, what I do practice my speech targets is like when we had to prolongate, like my name is Greg O'Grady, and that's a stretch syllable. So much like what you're saying is similar, I think,
Right,
Danny. That eventually one speeds up to what we call a new normal.
right.
So Danny, in terms of like, so how much time do you spend now on this new program? I'll refer to it as a program
Right.
during the day. Is it constant? How
Yes,
much time?
it's a constant thing because he also discusses in the book that a lot of people have beaten it and combated their stutter greatly, but they relapse because they get off the program. So for the rest of my life, I can honestly say that I will be on this program forever. And you don't even have to do a lot of things during the day so that you always stay on the program. It's only three things you have to do on a constant basis, and that is read at least 1 hour a day, practice the crutches you feel most comfortable with, and then the third and most important is daily mind training. And like I said earlier, you pick 10 things that you want to combat on a daily basis, and you tell those 10 things to yourself twice a day, 10 times each, for about 20 minutes.
Hmm. So as a person who stutters, we both know, Danny, that it actually takes a lot of physical, emotional, and psychological energy to stutter. Okay,
Absolutely.
and so it also takes a lot of time commitment to actually learn a new way of managing our stuttering. So in terms, from your experience, what is the less of the two evils, or should I be calling it evil, to carry on with our normal stuttering, or to change, but to put the energy into managing our stuttering?
Um, I would say it depends on the person. For for me, I never really wanted to define myself as a stutterer because when I was alone in a room, I would speak fluently. And then the minute I was in the presence of most humans, that's when, I became a situational stutterer. So it depends on the type of person you are. It's like if you're comfortable enough with living with a stutter, and then I massively applaud you because I actually used to work with a fellow stutterer, and I thought I had it bad, but this guy, I would say, he maybe was worse than me. Like, I don't want to offend anyone out there, but
Mm-hmm.
his stutter was more severe than mine. But he was the most confident man that I've ever met in my life because he does not let his stutter hold me back. And for 15 years, I let my stutter hold me back. So if you're comfortable enough with living with your stutter, then I applaud you greatly. Because if you go on the Reddit page, on the Stutter Reddit page, there's a lot of people out there that, they want to harm themselves. They actually want to commit suicide because of their stutter. So that's why I'm trying to reach out to as many people out there to get on this program because it will greatly reduce your stutter. And most importantly, it will make you become a happier person.
Mm. Now, Danny, this is the first time I've heard about the stutter Reddit page. So is this a support group for people who stutter, or
Um,
is it an actual Facebook page or?
no, it's on a different platform called Reddit, and it's basically a community of stutterers, and people go there to discuss their stutter and their
Okay.
problems, yeah, and ways to help. And I actually, since April, I would say, every time I see someone post on that discussing that they want to harm themselves and they don't want to live in this world anymore because of their stutter, I actually pull them aside through direct messaging and tell them about this book and program. And I tell them, if you really, really, really want to get rid of this, and then you will read this book and immerse yourself in it and diligently apply the methods, and you'll see how much your voice changes as well as your mind.
Mm. And Danny, Reddit is it spelled Readit? Reddit page? So, I mean, if I went on to Google it,
Yeah,
or just go to
it's Reddit.
Reddit
Yeah.
Reddit. Okay.
Yep.
So, Danny, have you thought about developing your own page to really promote this? I mean, what are your next steps of
Absolutely.
promoting?
Um, well, the author does have a online program which is called World Stop Stuttering Association, and he has about right now maybe 4 or 5 certified speech coaches, and they help people after they're done reading the book and watching his 20 video lessons. They help people go through the crutches and diligently explain to them. So I'm in the process currently of becoming a certified speech coach for the
Oh, what
website. Yes.
great! Congratulations,
Yes,
Danny.
thank you.
Congratulations.
And then I'm also looking at schools right now to maybe get my bachelor's and master's and become a speech language pathologist, because I did attend college in the past, but my course really was general studies as I didn't know what I wanted to do. And like the author says, stuttering will become the greatest blessing of your life. And at this point right now, I feel the exact same way, because I have converted my stutter into a blessing, because now I want to become a speech language pathologist and a certified speech coach and help as much stutterers out there in the world.
Excellent, Danny. Danny, so do you refer to yourself now as a uh, as a recovering person who stutters, or so is that history now? So when you think about your past as a person who stutters, what would you classify yourself, or do you think in terms like, am I a competent person who stutters? Am I a recovering stutterer?
Um, I don't like to put labels on things, but I would say currently I'm a recovering ex stutterer, because I still have fears of it, you know? I've only been on this program for the last 4 or 5 months or so, and
Mm-hmm.
I still have fear, but it's not as much fear as I had. Like before, I used to block badly with my dad, and now I can't even tell you the last bad incident I had him. But I still have some slight hesitation and fear to strangers, authority figures, and large groups. But day by day, those fears are slowly dying.
Mm. So you would call these fears triggers then, as as
Yes.
an example. Some of your would you be able to elaborate, Danny, on what would be some of the key triggers during your daily activities?
Um, well, I would say maybe saying my name, because I
Mm-hmm.
did have a bad incident once saying my name. So that's why even one of my affirmations that I say daily to myself is, I love to speak. I love to say my name, Danny Miguel. Because if you repeat that affirmation every single day, it becomes your dominant thought. And eventually, when it becomes your dominant thought, you'll be able to say anything that you want. And again, I can even tell you the last time that I had trouble introducing myself and saying my name, because the crutches or the methods in the book is important, but what's most important is the daily mind training.
Hmm. So like when you used to stutter, Danny, would you classify yourself as like a mild, medium, or severe person who stuttered?
I would say a mild situational stutterer. Yes.
Okay, situational.
Yep.
And does stuttering run in your family?
Um, I would say yes, because I had, unfortunately, I had a cousin that had a stutter, but unfortunately, he passed 4 months ago. And
Mm.
um, I'm sorry if I start breaking down.
Oh no, that's
Yeah,
okay.
he was only 21 years old too at the time. And
Oh,
I would
so
say,
sorry.
yeah, thank you. I would say he was more of a severe case. And it's unfortunate that I couldn't tell him about this program, because when he passed, I was on my second month in the program. And if he was still alive today, then I would definitely tell him about this program, because I know he too would have diligently immersed himself in this book and overcome it.
Hmm. Yeah, it it is sad, Danny. It is sad.
Yeah.
So, Danny, do you know outside of the read it and the World Stop Stuttering Association, what supports do you have outside to help help you stay on this path of maintenance?
Um, I don't think anything else. I think this book and his program has greatly, tremendously improved my life. And I'll just also like to add, he has a weekly Zoom meetings on Saturdays at 12.
Mm.
And it's the only community of stutterers and ex-stutterers that come to these meetings every Saturday at 12. And there's usually a speaker and a host. And we try to get as many people that were on the program and who combated their stutter to speak about their experiences and how they're fluent speakers today. And
Mm.
everyone there is absolutely kind. They're encouraging, they're thoughtful, they're helpful, and it's a really great community.
Mm. How would our listeners find out about these Zoom meetings? Is there a link or?
Yes, if you visit the website World Stop Stuttering
Oh,
Association,
okay,
yeah,
okay.
um, there is a membership fee that you do have to sign up for. And once you do, you'll be able to access all the video lessons, all the coaching lessons.
Oh,
You,
I
you can
see.
even get the 700-page book there by downloading it. And then on the side, it will have sections of, again, the coaching and the video lessons, and then the Saturday meetings for Zoom. So all the
Oh,
information
okay.
you need will be there. The links, the password, the meeting IDs, and all that.
Mm. And how much is the membership fees? If it's for our listeners that may be interested.
Yes, I believe there's a sign up fee for 180, but don't quote me on that. And I know the
Okay.
monthly fee is $15 a month. But
Okay.
But again, if you greatly want to combat your stutter, then you will put your money towards this
Mm.
program, because
Yeah.
for myself, it's the greatest money that I've ever spent in my life.
Hmm. Yeah. So it's a small price to pay. In
Right.
other words, Danny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, but it's a great price, because it will help you. It will greatly help you combat your stutter if you want to change it, of course.
So do you feel then, Danny, that this program that you're on it is a way to manage your program? So I mean the emphasis is not on fluency, is on management, or what are your thoughts?
Can you repeat that question again? I'm
Uh,
sorry.
so this this pro- program you're on, Danny, would you consider the emphasis is not on fluency, but on managing your stuttering?
Oh, absolutely. I would say, more importantly, it's more on mind training, to rethink and reprogram your mind. Because, like the author, again, I keep referring back to the author, he says our minds is the greatest thing on this planet because a thought, how did he put it? I'm sorry. He goes, a thought is faster than a speed of light or something like that. And if we're able to change our thoughts about anything and keep repeating positive affirmations to ourselves, eventually that thought becomes our dominant thought. So, more importantly than finding your fluency, I would say reprogramming and retraining your mind with positive affirmations. Yes.
So, Danny, what was your mental health like before the program and versus now?
I would say it was a little rough and damaged because, again, I wanted to find fluency, but I knew there's, other ailments out there that could be worse. And I always, at the end of each day, I pray to God saying, even though I really don't like my stutter, I thank you for it because I could have a ton of more other bad things going on with me. And if I had to live with my stutter for the rest of my life, and if that was the worst thing that I had to do, then I lived a good life.
Wonderful. So, Danny, before we close now, do you have any last words for our listeners?
Yes, I would say if there's anyone out there that greatly wants to reduce their stuttering and find fluency, then you will buy this book and get on this program. And most importantly, you will retrain and remap your mind, and your life will become tremendously improved.
Mm. One last question, Danny, before we close now is fluency. Do you consider fluency a bad word?
No, I don't consider fluency a bad
Okay.
word. No, because again, I keep going back to the author. Everyone, even the most fluent speakers, have a hiccup in their speech once in a while. There's no such thing as perfect speakers, and I always strive for perfection in my speech. But the real words that I should have been using are patience and persistence. And if you're persistent and patient enough, and then one day you too will find fluency.
Well, Danny, you sound great.
Appreciate it, buddy. Thank you.
You really do. So, thank you again for joining us today for some sort of conversation, Danny.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Okay, we'll talk again, I'm sure. Take care.
You too. Thank you, buddy.
Bye.
Bye.